Hello, everybody. My name is Rich Klusek.
And my name is Scott Parker.
And we are co-project managers for the Legacy Leesburg Town Plan Update. Like so many of you, our lives have changed, and COVID-19 has disrupted our personal lives as well as this town plan process. We are here right now in Raffalo Park. We're over 6 feet apart, as you can see, and we're using this as a new way to communicate with you since the originally scheduled public workshop that we had back in April couldn't take place. This is essentially a new way that we have of communicating with you, the public, as well as our planning commission and town council members.
Legacy Leesburg is the town's roadmap for the future. Typically, at this stage of the project, we would have the project and the pages and the materials for view for the public so that everybody can engage in person, provide feedback. We had a very robust public engagement process. One might say some of the best public engagement that we had before, obviously, it all had to come to a screeching halt. We want to keep that momentum going.
Now, just like the kids are in virtual school, in the future, when we do actually roll out this town plan document, we hope to have some virtual workshop events where you'll be able to provide us with feedback on the town plan policies, the strategies that we've developed to date. Before we get too far, I want to talk a little bit about the team that has been participating in Legacy Leesburg. For those of you that might not have engaged in the process before, you might not know that we have a team of consultants as well as many other people on town staff that are working on this project.
The team is led by Jess Alexander of Stantec, with help from Matt Noonkester from City Explained and Scott Lane from JS Lane Company. They also have people working with them, including Nadine Bennett, Ian Varley, Dylan McKnight, David Dixon, Marina Irfarmo, Sarah Woodworth, and JJ Janetta. Of course, you have myself, Scott Parker, and Susan Berry Hill working on the project from the town side. But the most important part of the project team are all of you, the citizens of Leesburg and the business owners that came to the workshops, that participated in the activities, and provided their feedback. This actually led to the development of the policies that you see in the town plan.
So before we get too far, realizing that many of you have not been engaged in the process to date, I think it's important to start with what exactly a town plan is. And with me is Susan Berry Hill, the Director of Planning. She'll tell us a little bit more about that.
We need the town plan at its very basis. The state requires every community to have a comprehensive plan. And that's to help guide decisions about land development, infrastructure development, and just community development as a whole. So the state code requires this to be done for every community, and it requires it to be done every 5 years that you review your comprehensive plan. That's a very rudimentary requirement, I think, for any community. A comprehensive plan is much more than complying just with the state code. It really should embody all of the values and the aspirations of the community. And it is the people who tell us what the aspirations and what they value in the community. So the plan is a plan for the public. It is the public's plan. People often describe a town plan or a comprehensive plan as a roadmap or a blueprint, and it is those things. It's something that helps guide you to get from point A to point B, or to build the house, so to speak. It's helping a community build our communal house, which includes everything from transportation and land use to housing to economic development, where we put our businesses, where we want our community facilities to be, utilities. It addresses all those things in a comprehensive, integrated way. And it's probably one of the most important documents that any community has. Other than the budget documents, it's intended to work with those budget documents. It's intended to work with a capital improvements plan for infrastructure for a community. So it's intended to be a document that is inclusive of all elements of community planning.
My name is Brian Boucher. I am the Deputy Director of the Department of Planning and Zoning for the town of Leesburg. I was a boy here in the 1960s, so most of my life I have been in or around Leesburg. So I can go back to the 1960s when the town had about 4,000 people. And it was essentially a town serving a farming community. But the farming community has gone away, changed over time, the economy has changed. So one thing the Leesburg Town Plan had to do is to anticipate changes in the future and to try to accommodate the new type of growth, the new economy that would be coming to this area. When I take a look at it all told, and with 26 years of experience working for the town of Leesburg, I think the town's done a pretty good job anticipating the growth. The town plan, if it's done correctly, can really do things that enhances the experience of people who live in the area. And I'll talk about one thing I think the Leesburg Town Plan did right. In particular, in the late 80s, a parking garage had been anticipated in the 1974 Town Plan when they said, you know, we're probably going to need 2,000 parking spaces downtown sometime in the 1990s. And the plan actually anticipated that and got us the downtown parking garage that we have. And for those of you who are old enough to remember, that was just a big gravel parking field behind King Street, and what you see today is much more attractive, much more impressive, and frankly much more practical given the amount of traffic we have downtown now and the need for parking. So one thing the town plan tries to do is anticipate where you might want a redevelopment, where a use that was appropriate for a period of time no longer seems that appropriate. And I'll give you one example. Again, if you were here really into the 80s, you might remember the old A&P store that was between Harrison Street and then bounded, it was off of Harrison Street, then it was bounded by Loudon and Market Streets. Well, if you look for it today, you won't find it. What you will find instead is the Loudon County Government Center and a large parking structure. And what happened is that the county was growing. The population was growing rapidly. They needed better facilities. They had their main facility in Leesburg, but they needed something much, much larger. And they wanted to stay in Leesburg. The town wanted the county government to stay in Leesburg as its main hub. And so looking for places to redevelop, it was the old A&P store, because there were new shopping centers on the outskirts of Leesburg where more grocery stores were being built. So what happened is the town plan's desire was to keep that government, Loudon County government downtown, and the result was that redevelopment of the site. Redevelopment is something that still happens today, and the town has to anticipate it. One example might be the old Walmart site, which is near the bypass down Edwards Ferry Road. Interestingly enough, it was across from where that airport once was, once upon a time. But that's a site, the Walmart's gone away, and it's going to be something different. So the town plan has to anticipate what's the best thing, most practical thing to put there to benefit the town in the future. So redevelopment may occur more slowly, but it does occur, and the town plan, one of its main jobs is to anticipate that.
We're in Potomac Crossing Park, which is absolutely beautiful right now. The trees are stunning. It's a beautiful fall day. And how did this park get here? Well, one of the reasons it's here is our town plan has guidance for our recreational facilities, and it says where they should be. It talks about what type of facility it should be. And so when a developer wanted to develop Potomac Crossing, it was in our town plan, the need for a park, and it became part of the negotiations with that developer to achieve the land for the park and to get it developed. And you can see it's a beautiful facility. I'm sure it's used by the community that is adjacent to it on a regular basis, as well as other town residents. And this is just one of the ways that a town plan really helps to guide what we want for the future in terms of recreational space, and how we achieve it.
So in developing this town plan, one of the first things that we did was reach out to the public. We used a variety of methods, including social media, We did actually manage to have a community workshop before COVID hit. We were walking around in the street on that very, very cold day in November.
Almost a year ago.
But that was one of the ways that we got the best feedback. We heard things that we really hadn't heard before. I've lived in town for a long time, and you hear these things coming from the public that I really didn't expect to hear. And what's even more important is the things that the public said, they said in droves. They said over and over. Scott, do you remember any of those things that the public spoke about?
I personally expected a lot more negative comments. We got a lot of positives and a lot of creative input on how to make the town better and what should go into making the town prosperous. So I was very surprised by the candor, the professionalism, and the variety of voices that we had. One of the key components of the public input early on was the focus group that we assembled.
Yeah, the focus group was great. They actually, we asked them to spread the word, and they reached out to a lot of the people that did actually come to the workshop. They also really promoted the on-the-table exercise.
The on-the-table exercises that you brought it up, I found interesting. And for those of you that don't know, the on-the-table was where individuals, businesses, residents would host parties, if you will, or gatherings in the time when we were still allowed to do that.
Where the days.
Those were the days in the before times where where groups of folks would get together over dinner, cocktails. They would talk about the issues facing the town. They would talk about the positives of the town, and they relayed that back to us that helped feed where we were going with this, and served to reinforce just how robust and valuable the public input is to this project and will be continue going forward. Hopefully by this part in the video, you're wondering what the town plan says. We're going to tell you, but that's going to be in upcoming videos.
That's right. We're going to start with a little information about some of the trends that are influencing the town plan, some of the existing conditions, if you will. We're going to talk about demographic trends, economic trends, real estate trends, all of those things happening in the world, in the country, and locally that affect some of the policies moving forward. We're also going to tell you a little bit about the transportation network as it stands now. We're going to get into some of the public outreach.
What we did for public outreach, what the public had to say, where we're going to move forward as we go forward with the plan.
From a public outreach standpoint, we can tell you quickly right now, one of the things that we heard is that the public loves Leesburg. The people that live here love Leesburg as it stands right now, and they want to preserve the character of it going forward. We did hear a little bit of concerns regarding traffic, for example, and concerns about loss of the character in Leesburg as development continues.
It was interesting because when we heard about that, it was a little surprising to us that a lot of folks realize that growth is going to happen in this area, but that growth needs to be managed with the character and the things that people love about Leesburg.
So the plan has a series of guiding principles. One of the videos will be talking all about those guiding principles, the big picture concepts that are going to be driving the future of Leesburg. Another video will get into some of the detailed goals and strategies that we'll be applying. And lastly, we'll be talking a little bit about some of the implementation strategies, how to take those goals and that vision and bring it to a reality when we make decisions in the future.
So if you want to learn more about the town plan and where we've been, please visit our website, legacy.leesburgva.gov. There you will find everything that we've done in the past, all of the public outreach. You'll find interesting information as well as contact information for both Rich and I as we move forward. Thank you for watching this video and sticking with us to the end, and we'll see you again in a future video.